Now the news, read by Sue Carpenter.
The headlines tonight: violence has flared once again in South Africa, and President Reagan has clashed with Congress over arms sales to the Contras in Nicaragua. Good evening. There's been widespread rioting in the South African township of Soweto, where government troops have reportedly opened fire on black demonstrators. Mark Benson reports. And I'm sorry, we seem unable to bring you that report at the moment. We'll bring it to you as soon as we can. President Reagan has attacked Congress for blocking his $3 million aid deal for the Contra rebels in Nicaragua. In a televised speech earlier today, President Reagan appealed to the American people for their support in fighting communism. And I'm sorry, that wasn't President Reagan. It was, in fact, Leslie Crowther. Obviously, a few gremlins. We'll get them sorted out as soon as we can. The teachers' unions have reacted angrily to the latest pay offer by the local authorities. The National Union of Teachers are calling for a resumption of industrial action in protest at the breakdown in negotiations over teachers' pay. Meanwhile, in a speech in Brighton today, Education Minister Kenneth Baker once again reiterated the government's view that teachers' pay should be linked directly to results. He also called for the clarification of the contractual duties of teachers, saying that what the public most wanted from its education system was quality and value for money. And some news just in: there's been violence on the picket line at Selborne Colliery, where miners have called a strike in protest at the dismissal of 42 of their colleagues. The clash began when police charged to disperse them. And we'll have more on that story later on in the programme. Prince Charles has again criticised Britain's builders and architects. In a speech to the Royal Institute of British Architects, the Prince called for a return to the more traditional styles and greater emphasis on the needs of the local community. He also chastised Britain's builders for developing use. Meanwhile, there's deadlock over the common market fisheries policy. Britain is pressing for stricter quotas to prevent overfishing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sue Carpenter. Sue, you demonstrated some of the great skills you need to be a top-class newsreader, great composure there. And what else does it take?
Well, I think you have to be genuinely interested in current affairs and world events generally, because some of the news stories are very complex.
Sure, yeah. Indeed, one question I'm sure we'd all like answered is, what's the money like? Gosh, the Wonga, I mean, you must get a good whack for this lot, do you?
Well, it's not bad, yes, but then you do work very long and sometimes very unsocial hours, you know, but, well, the job's exciting and very stimulating.
Luncheon vouchers? You must get luncheon vouchers, do you? Do you get a car thrown in?
No.
It's pretty easy stuff what you do, isn't it?
Well, it's not as easy as it looks.
Oh, come on. All you do is you come in, you sit there in your free clothes, read off whatever the idiot card says, then all you've got to do is shuffle your papers at the end, put your pen away and collect your cheque. Double.
Well, it's not that easy. Do you want to have a go?
Oh, yeah, I'll have a go.
Come on, then.
All right, yeah.
Come on.
Thanks.
The news read by Rory McGrath. Rory, you're supposed to read them out loud.
What?
Read them out loud.
Sorry. Sorry, I got involved there. Right. Can I have the theme tune again, please? Good evening. Neil Kinnock has reiterated his claim that a Labour government would never compromise the defence of Britain. Chancellor of the Exchequer, Nigel Lawson.
Rory, you can't do that.
What?
Well, you're not supposed to read an item and then go, "Tuh." You can't voice an
all right,
opinion.
Yeah, sure, yeah, all right. Chancellor of the Exchequer, Nigel Lawson, today announced that due to the drop in revenue from British oil, he may have to increase taxes in the next budget. Sport now. And in the... I didn't voice an opinion.
No, but you made a gesture.
Oh, you see, I've got to sit idly by and announce that Lawson's going to bleed us dry too. Oh, that's very clever, isn't it?
Now, don't get worked up about it.
Do you want to see my last bank statement? Do you want to see what... The government took a third of everything. Stole a third of it.
Well, you're not supposed to comment on it.
Oh, I see. Well, perhaps if newsreaders spoke out more and didn't sit idly on the fence, perhaps they wouldn't get away with it, eh? Have you ever thought about if you lot actually put your foot down, the news would read like it should do? Bong, Nigel Lawson is a kleptomaniac. Bong, Bobby Robson is an idiot. What are you looking at me like that for?
I don't think you're cut out to be a newsreader.
Why not? I can look like Jan Leeming in a certain light.
Maybe, but I think you get too involved.
Hmm.
How about being a weather forecaster?
Oh, all right, yes, I'll have to go. Yeah. No problem. Good evening. And now the weather. God, look at this piss-awful weather, eh? What a bloody awful country. I'm going to live in Lanzarote now. I'm fed up with this.
This is Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Now, Dave, you're a professional criminal.
Right, that's what I do for a living, yeah.
So basically, you beat people up so you can get their money off them.
No, I beat people up so I can get money off the News of the World reporter who follows me around taking photographs.
I see. Now, John, you are the News of the World reporter who follows Dave around, so obviously you work quite closely together as a team.
Oh, that's right, Julia. Dave is, in fact, one of our top full-time crime exclusives. Dave's actually committed over 80% of all the crimes we feature on our newspaper.
Now, Dave, the beating up end of the job, I mean, what are the hours like?
Oh, it's evenings mostly. 6 to 9 is mugging old ladies. 9 to 12, stabbing policemen. And then after midnight, it's just sort of general looting if John's running one of his inner city volcano exclusives. Sometimes I have to black out for that one.
Yeah, if we're playing up the racial angle, and we usually are.
Yes. And do you ever have to work weekends? Or?
Well, Saturdays I go down Chelsea because we're doing our We Unmask the Football Thugs.
Yeah, it's a series.
Yeah. I'm getting £6,000 for that.
Really, 6,000?
Yeah, £1,000 for doing the assaults and £5,000 for having to watch Chelsea.
More late news. Cecil Parkinson is rumoured to be making a comeback into Mrs. Thatcher's cabinet as Minister without Secretary.
We have contact.